Well, hello there, good people. Hi, I'm Jason with Green Country Agroforestry, and today I'm going to show you a little trick that may help you out when you're trying to grow root crops to avoid the little burrowing critters like the pocket gophers that might be infesting your yard from devouring them before you can. Anyway, let me take you in the back. We're going to show you what we're doing to help prevent the gophers and other critters from getting at our potatoes this year. Come on. Here we are in the backyard garden area. I've already taken the liberty of cleaning up most of the debris. Here was the old corn patch from this year, which did fairly well. But we're ready to do some fall planting. Right at my feet here is a bunch of cement blocks. These are kind of old cement blocks, not like the ones that I put in the water feature out front. These ones are a bit ratty, but when put close together, they don't need to be watertight. They just need to be close enough together to hold some soil in. All right. We're going to make essentially a small raised bed with a twist. Here I have a roll of 1/2-inch hardware cloth, galvanized so it will withstand weathering, that we're going to roll out and place at ground level and stack these blocks at my feet on the margins to hold it in place. This hardware cloth, being only 1/2 inch in diameter, each of the meshes, is small enough that the gophers can't get through it, so they can't burrow up underneath to reach the potatoes as they grow. Meanwhile, these cement blocks provide a nice and convenient position to stack the soil so we can grow the potatoes and then later hill them up. I'm going to make this, about 8 foot long or so, and give me enough room to accommodate about 4 potato plants. That's about all we're going to try to plant. Now that I've got all the blocks laid out, so they're just holding that down at the ends, and we have 2 feet of hardware cloth in between girders. And I've taken the time to go ahead and rake back the rest of this mulch and dirt around the area. We're getting ready to start filling. So, take one single shovelful out around the outside edge and then see where we're at. Filling up the inside of the box with some. Well, at this point, our little construction is a bit like a fortress. We've got our stone walls running all around the courtyard with a moat all about that, and even a system underneath to prevent sappers. Now all I got to do is break our clods up and pull out the spare roots that we've got growing here. A lot of this is Bermuda grass, and it's about time for the Bermuda grass to be done anyway, but it never hurts to be thorough. Pontiac rag potatoes, or a short season potato, taking about 80 days to reach maturity. Yukon Gold, or another short season potato, hailing from, I believe, Ontario, 60 to 80 days to maturity. Isn't that something? So we're going to do 2 of these, 2 of these. Just take my potato, Put it in with eyes up. Soil. Just like so. And another one here. And there we go. We've got our potatoes buried. They've got 8 inches of loose soil underneath them. And now that the fall rains are coming, we should see them starting to develop and grow into potato plants for us. As they get a little bit further on, I can add more blocks and a little bit more soil or mulch over the top. And these guys hopefully finish off somewhere between 60 to 80 days. All right, here we have some of our top sets that have sprouted here. So we're going to get some more walking onions out of these. I just need to do something to protect these and of course my garlic to keep the gophers from getting them this year. This setup here for protecting my potatoes, I think that's the key to doing it. But I'm not going to build up a corral with cinder blocks. All right, I'm going to take a little bit wider hardware cloth. This is 36 inches from one side to the other. We'll clip it in half so we'll have 1.5 foot wide swaths. We'll bend those into a V to give us a V with 9 inches on the side. That should be ample room to grow a clove of garlic, I think. Let's get started. Having a corral like this is great whenever you need to mound the dirt up over an area, for example with these potatoes, but if all you need to do is protect the bulb underground, wire cloth will do the job just as well. I am going to build more of these around the border of the garden simply because I think I want to have that sort of permanent bed feature on the area where I'm going to be propagating my walking onions. They were almost wiped out entirely this year by the groundhogs, by the gophers, so extra precautions may help us have some that I can provide for you in the future. But let me get started with this bit here. I've got 10 foot of wire cloth, which is enough for 10 garlic plants. All right, let's get these off over to the side here. And I'm just going to dig a trench starting about here, and we'll put the dirt right there. All right, so just going to go down to spade depth. That's it, nothing more. And put the dirt on top of this piece of plywood that I've got over here. I use this piece of plywood during the spring. I lay it out on the ground next to tender young veggies, and in the morning I flip it over, and underneath I find all the slugs that have taken refuge because they think, well, that's nice and shady, we can hide there, and we're right next to our food. Little do they know that board is there to fool them so that I can go pick them off and set them out in my bird feeders to train the birds to eat slugs. I'm capturing a lot fewer slugs these days than I used to. People burying their garbage, look at that. This is after 1 year of putting down 6 inches of wood chip mulch over the surface of really sandy soil. We now have nice, crumbly, well, a lot of that crumbly is worm castings. High organic matter content. This looks pretty good. Okay, now we've taken our wire, after we bent it in half, we pulled it back out, or bent it back out to a 45-degree angle. Just lower right down here into the soil. Actually, I'm going to flip this around so that ragged edge is pointed out this way. Now, at the far end, I've got an open spot that a gopher could, in theory, get through and tunnel into. We're going to make it harder for him to find by adding one more little thing. That'd be just a little chunk of concrete here on the end. It's going to be hard for him to burrow around. He can try, but concrete should stymie his efforts. All right. Meanwhile, we got our wire cloth laid into the trough, just like so. All we got to do now is fill it up with dirt. Let's crumble this in as we go. Right. I'm going to fill all the way up to this last part here. I'm going to leave this exposed so I can add my next piece when I get to it. Pardon me for a moment. Grab this piece here. Crumble the dirt off of it. Look, see how nice that soil is now? Now we've got some organic matter added to it. Doesn't it look good? It's not just sand anymore. We've got soil. Oh. Alright, good people, let's have a look at what we're planting here. This is some soft neck garlic, California soft neck, I believe is what it is. Each one of these, you can see fairly large bulbs, is going to have, I'm going to say about 12 cloves here. Some bigger than others, but 12 that you can probably plant. If your diet calls for about 1 clove of garlic a day, you're going to need 30 plants per person to produce garlic enough for everybody who's eating garlic. Now to help us out, I've laid out the tape measure alongside and moved it forward by 6 inches. I'm going to use our dibber to push a hole down here into the top, just a bit. And we're going to come over the foot, another hole, another foot, another hole, another foot. We're just pushing it in, just so. See how nice it is to have a dibber that's long handled like this. You don't have to lean over to poke your holes in the ground. Now if I had to put these in here, and we want to put them in with the pointed end up. Point end up, so the part that was at the bottom where the roots were, that goes down, the pointed part goes up. Drop it into the hole, cover, firm slightly. See, this one's actually starting to sprout right there. Drop it into the hole, cover and firm slightly. Into the hole, cover, firm slightly. And again. The phytochemical that makes alliums like garlic and onion such great nutraceuticals is called allicin. It's chemically diallyl thiosulfonate. And that means, yes, it contains sulfur. And where does the garlic or the onion plant get its sulfur from? Well, it gets it from the soil in trace amounts. But if you don't have a lot of sulfur in your soil to begin with, your onions and your garlic might not be as potent as they could be, and therefore may not have quite the health benefits that they could possibly or potentially have. There's a couple ways you can fix that. Of course, one of them is by adding sulfur. This is plain old elemental sulfur. They call it dusting sulfur. I'm not going to use a lot, just to sprinkle over the surface here. And hey, that's all I've got for you today, good people. If you found this video informative or entertaining, well, you know what to do. I will catch you next time.